Good evening. It's a deal that could transform the international media landscape and means Ruoert Murdoch's global empire will get smaller. Disney has agreed to buy 21st Century Fox's entertainment assets in a deal worth more than $50 billion. Fox's US cable networks, film studios and international businesses such as Sky in Europe and Star in Asia will join Disney to form a global giant in competition with Amazon and Netflix. Well, a short time ago, I spoke to the executive co-chairman of 21st Century Fox, Ruoert Murdoch. I started by asking him why he's selling these assets after owning them for so long.
Well, these ones 30 years. We bought 20th Century Fox in, I think, '86. Started the broadcast, it was films, and we started a broadcast company a couple of years later. And 10 years later, we started Fox News from scratch. So a lot of these were, organic growth.
But everyone is saying Ruoert Murdoch doesn't sell businesses, he buys them.
No, well, you do both. No, I think this is returning to our roots, which is news and sports, and it's the changing way people watch television these days. I think Sky knows this. The news is real. The sport, the soccer is huge. But the series, people watch them the time you put them up. But a lot of them, they stack them and watch them a week later or that night or a year later, watch a whole series over a weekend. So then you've got, in fact, you've got huge companies going into this area now, like Amazon, Facebook, Apple, all spending, and Netflix, of course, spending fortunes on making scripted programs. Putting up the cost enormously. So it seems to be, what we have to do is strengthen somebody. We'll have 25% of Disney, as our shareholders, that is, and we have 260,000. So I think it's strategically the right time and the right move.
People are saying, though, that this marks some sort of retreat by you.
No, we're pivoting at a pivotal moment.
How big do you think Disney is Disney now going to be big enough to take on the likes of Netflix and Amazon Prime?
Oh, yes. I mean, it'll be valued at, with us in there, at least, I don't know, 200-odd billion. And if it grows, as I think it will, it'll have a global footprint. It could be, well, Amazon, I don't know what's going to grow to, but it could be a very, very big company.
Are companies like Amazon and Netflix operating at an advantage to the likes of Disney and 21st Century Fox because they're under no obligation to produce a dividend for their shareholders? They seem to be indulged by their shareholders an awful lot.
Yes, they're growth companies that have no cost of capital. And that's the way. Amazon, I don't know how much they want to do. They're spending $5 or $6 billion, I believe, on new programs, but it's basically to widen the appeal of Prime. Anyone who joins Prime seems to spend about $3,000 immediately on retail. So they're expanding their whole retail operation.
Now there's a 2.5...
they're a huge disruptor. If you look at what they're doing. We've disrupted things in our time. You can't complain. Amazon, every businessman wants to attack it or defend against it, but the public loves it. So we just have to see how it goes. But you saw what happened. Westfield sold out because they saw rents going down, not going up. Direct result of Amazon.
Now, there's a £2.5 billion fee payable to Fox should regulators block this deal. Are you anticipating any antitrust issues? No, we're very. It's really structured, so it shouldn't have any problem at all. That's to say, in Washington, there'll be different considerations in Brussels, but I don't think serious ones. We may have to have some behavioural guarantees, about exclusivity of movies and things, but I think it's fine. What about the position of your son, James, the current chief executive of 21st Century Fox? There'd been a lot of speculation beforehand that you were agitating for a place for him on the Disney board.
No. There's no conditions like that. They will need someone like James, at least to help the integration. And they've talked about that, I think, or are talking, but there's no guarantees of any sort. And no one, nor about the board or anything.
And what about the position of Sky? Clearly Fox is trying to take full control of Sky right now. It's mired in this regulatory
We think
investment
that'll go through.
Right.
And that'll then be part of the deal. Then, if it doesn't, then I'm sure Disney will. You know, I've been publishing newspaper for 40 years, and you can do a lot of fights. So we've probably got more enemies. And, you know, this government, if thinks anything's controversial, they don't want to touch it. It's just the state of politics at this moment. So, whereas all our lawyers are very confident, there's no reason to knock it back. You know, Ofcom turned us over upside down around for months and said we were fine. So, I don't think the result should be different, but you just never know.
Do you think we'd be sitting here having this conversation? Do you think you'd be selling these assets were it not for the fact that this takeover of Sky has been held up for more than a year? Has that concentrated your mind at all?
Not really, no. This started with Bob Iger, a friend of mine, sitting at my winery one evening, having a couple of glasses and just talking about our businesses and the industry generally, the forces of disruption that were happening. And that was all. Then he rang me back a couple of weeks later. He said, look, let's get into this conversation a bit more. And that's how it was. That's only 2 months ago.
How harmful has the whole raft of allegations about sexual harassment at Fox News been for the business? Has that...
Oh, it's all nonsense. There was a problem with our chief executive, sort of over the years, but isolated instance. As soon as we investigated, he was out of the place in hours. Well, 3 or 4 days. And there's been nothing else since then. Now, of course, but that was largely political because we're conservative. Now, of course, all the Liberals are going down the drain. NBC's in deep trouble, CBS, their stars. You know, I think it's a very interesting subject we go into at length, but I mean, there are really bad cases that people should be moved aside. And there are other things.
But did it
which
depress,
probably amount to a bit of flirting, you know?
But did it depress investor sentiment towards 21st Century Fox?
No, I don't think so. It certainly shouldn't have. Look, you know, it made it was a big fuss here because people who were suing us for not that, but for anything, were coming over and going to Ofcom and talking about it. And we just, and that in that case, they actually asked, would we pay them money, and they wouldn't come. It's, you know, it's American lawyers.
Now, there's been a lot of speculation that once you've completed this sale, you're going to look at reuniting what remains of 21st Century Fox, New Fox, with News Corporation, the owner of your UK newspaper assets.
A New Fox is, it's going back to our roots of news and sport, and that would seem to follow, but it's going to be a very good company. It'll have a bit, it has now, just for the last 12 months, 2.8. We can see that with the contracts we have now, they're going past 3 billion, cash flow of well over 2 billion after taxes, and I think it's going to be a favourite of investors. Now, if we had to say to those people in 2 years' time, hey, take some newspapers on, it may not be such a good idea. So, look, there's sort of logic to it, but we're not planning it at this stage. We can look at it in 2 or 3 years.
And you will remain executive chairman?
I will be, indeed. And I hope my son Lachlan will agree to be chief executive.
What sort of ambitions do you have for New Fox? Are you going to be an acquirer of assets?
We'll certainly be looking, with that cash flow, we'll certainly be looking around. But, you know, we're going to be careful. We're not going to buy another network. I doubt that we'd buy another cable network even. We've got so much the best now. Fox News is the #1 brand in American television. Head of ESPN, everything. And if you take the broadcast networks, it's rather like film studios. They go to them for a particular show. You know, they watch NCIS or Law and Order or whatever it is, or The Simpsons. They don't say because it's Fox, because it's CBS. You know, they go to see the return of whatever, you know, Star Wars, Return of the Jedi. They don't really register. They don't go there because it's made by Disney. So, but they do go to Fox News because it's Fox News.
And do you think Fox News could now be, would you like to roll it out more widely across the world?
Well, different people ask us to do that. We'll probably put it over the top on the internet as a subscription service, just as it is now. That's the first step. Then we'll see what its reception is. I think it'd be very popular with expatriates. It's got a slightly wider audience, and perhaps we would do that.
Now, New Fox is...
But, you know, the point about these things is subscription. Fox News in America is over 70%, 75% money comes from what the cable companies pay us. So that's, and it's in all the slimmed down package, nearly all of them, like YouTube Live, New Hulu, direct television. The packages are selling for $30 to $40. Fox News is right there. So you hear of cord cutters? From now, it's only been going this last 2 or 3 months. But I think we're going to replace, as the new cord cutters come, they'll be going for it because of cost.
New Fox is obviously going to have a live sports element to it, quite to the fore.
Oh, sure.
Are you going to have the balance sheet strength to bid for some of these big sports rights that you want to?
Oh, sure. If we're competing with other broadcasters, without any doubt. Look, the stuff that goes over the air now, I think politically, people like the football, the basketball, all of them, would not come off. Things that are now on free television, it'd be politically dangerous to take them off. Things that are on cable companies, which includes, I guess, FS1 to some extent, but just TNT is basketball, there's Monday Night Football and ESPN, they could be threatened by big, sort of nonsensical bids from the likes of Facebook. Facebook have said they are coming after sports.
How emotional a deal is this for you to be getting rid of Sky? I mean, you've invested more than 20 years in Sky, put billions of pounds into it.
A lot of my life. I nearly went broke in that
nearly
first
broke
year.
the company, yeah. I mean,
I sure did.
Is this a really emotional moment for you, selling Sky?
Yeah. No, we're very proud of Sky. I just felt we needed a really alternative. Give people lots of choice. We thought, 4 or 5 channels. Now, what is it, 150 or something? And it's, it's a great company, employing a lot of people in this country, and I might say, and in Germany and Italy, but a lot of artists and creative people.
Which has been the assets that you're selling today that you're parting with most reluctantly?
I think Sky. Yeah.
Ruoert Murdoch speaking to me earlier.